Trump's approval ratings are soaring as America rallies behind his common sense approach to governing. The new Harvard Caps Harris poll shows Americans overwhelmingly support President Trump's agenda across every issue, with numbers that have Democrats panicking. And just today, Tim Cook announced Apple will invest $500 billion into the United States over 4 years, creating 20,000 American jobs. Meanwhile, Trump's meeting with the French President Macron demonstrated his diplomatic strength as he finalizes a Ukraine peace agreement that Biden couldn't deliver in 4 years. And Eye Patch McCain getting caught on a hot mic. Wait till you see what happened. And Tucker Carlson's response. And as Trump reshapes the global landscape, BRICS nations are accelerating de-dollarization. China is secretly stockpiling gold while underreporting their purchases because they recognize gold's enduring value. Smart Americans are following suit. That's why I trust Noble Gold Investments to secure my financial future. With economic shifts looming under Trump's leadership, having physical gold in your portfolio isn't just smart, it's essential. Visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked down below to protect your retirement with a gold IRA. Qualified accounts receive 10, that's right, 10 1-ounce silver American Eagle coins for free. That's nextnewsgold.com, because in Trump's new world, those holding real assets win. That's the number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Give him a call. Tell him that Gary sent you. Okay, this just in as we were going to the studio, Dan Crenshaw caught on a hot mic saying he would, well, you listen.
Have you ever met Tucker?
We've talked a lot. Twitter. If I ever meet him, I'll finally kill him. He's the worst person.
Have you ever met Tucker?
And Tucker Carlson now responding, why don't you come sit for an interview and we'll see how you do? I'll send you my address. Does Dan Crenshaw have what it takes to sit down with Tucker Carlson? I mean, the fact that he was caught saying this.
Have you ever met Tucker?
We've talked a lot. Twitter. If I ever meet him, I'll finally kill him. He's the worst person.
What a moron, right in front of the cameras. I mean, I guess we should give him the benefit of the doubt. He only has half of his vision, so he probably didn't see all the cameras pointing at him. And now we've got some big breaking news. This just in, the Trump White House smacking down fake news. The White House just confirmed its victory over the Associated Press, declaring that access to the president is a privilege, not a right. The fake news is melting down. Trump stands by his decision to hold them accountable. This is the official press release that we just received here at Next News from the White House, and just a couple hours ago. And of course, the reason the Associated Press is not getting access is because they refuse to acknowledge President Trump's authority in renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. So, well, I guess that's what happens when you don't follow the law. And then we have this. This was about 48 hours ago, talking about American jobs who've been stolen. Listen.
Americans. We're rescuing the Americans whose jobs have been stolen, whose wages have been robbed, and whose way of life has been absolutely destroyed. And under the Trump administration, our country will not be turned into a dumping ground. We're not going to do it. We're going to have a great country again. It's going to happen soon, a lot sooner than you think, and we're going to have so much money coming in from tariffs. Oh, we're rescuing the American.
It is happening at a breakneck speed. And speaking of the Trump dance, here is President Trump giving the Trump dance at CPAC. Love it. You got to love it. Here we have some truth on the ground at CPAC. Let's see what's going on here. This is the Alec Lace show.
We got 7.2 million men who are not participating in the work.
And he's talking with Mike Rowe, the dirty jobs guy.
Force not looking for work. We got $1.7 trillion in student loans on the books. We got 7.6 million open positions that don't require a 4-year degree. And yet, we keep lending money we don't have to kids who are never going to be able to pay it back to train them for jobs that don't exist anymore. If we want to close the skills gap, we got to make a more persuasive case for millions of good jobs. that nobody knows about and nobody understands. These are six-figure jobs or opportunities that lead straight to a six-figure career. They're everywhere. And if we don't reinvigorate the trades, I'm afraid the president's best efforts to bring manufacturing back to these shores is going to run into a real roadblock. We need an enthused workforce, skilled for the jobs that are out there.
Yeah, well said. As I was telling you, I'm a railroad mechanic. I've been doing that for 25 years. I've been doing side work as an auto mechanic my entire life. I have 4 kids. We own a house. We've been able to live comfortably because of that one skill set of being able to do something mechanically. And
you're not the problem. You should be on a billboard. People should look at your life as an example of what can happen when you master a skill that's in demand and work your ass off. That's still for sale. It's still important. And we have to get in front of that message, and we have to reinvigorate the trades in a way that makes this generation of kids look at careers like the ones you had and go, yeah, damn Skippy, I'd do that.
And these aren't the jobs that are going to be replaced by AI. The plumbers, the electricians, the mechanics, they're not going to be replaced by AI. Yet all these things that people are trading their entire future for, they're all going to be replaced by AI.
You said it, not me, but something tells me your days working on the railroad could not have been done by a robot.
100%. Mike Rowe, I took up enough of your time. Thank you so much for giving me a chance.
Mike Rowe dropping some truth bombs right there. We've got some more coming at you. Rapid Response 47 dropping this. The pardon czar Alice Johnson plans to fulfill the trust that the president has placed.
What does it mean for you now to be the pardon czar? What do you plan to do with that power?
Well, I plan to fulfill the trust that the president has placed in me. He's given me specific marching orders. And actually, Dana, from the time I've been working on this nonstop since my release, this is really a continuation of the work that I've already been doing. I've brought many pardon cases before the president in the past. And one thing I can say about President Trump, he was very interested in their families. He wanted to know if they have a solid reentry program in place. I wanted to make sure that I brought him the best candidates, because what is happening in this nation is really sending a message to the world that we care about the least of his people.
What is
a new pardon czar is going to be taking a look at all the people requesting pardons, and actually I'll be talking with one tomorrow. We've got an interview that's going to be pretty explosive, so keep your eyes open for that. Here we have this. A New Yorker is glad Trump is our president. Let's check this out.
How happy were you when Donald Trump won?
Overjoyed. It was finally happened. I mean, I'm kind of glad they stole the last one, because that's basically what happened, because it gave him 4 years to figure out really what the deal is and to sit back and now how to go down there and punch everybody in the goddamn face. That's basically what's going on, because he picked the right people. He's like, everybody's going to be a goddamn pit bull, and we're going to go down there and we're going to level this thing, and we're going to get rid of all this bureaucracy, and we're going to strike fear into the hearts of not just people here in America, but the rest of the world, right? It's like every day it's like a win. You know what I mean? It's not one, it's the whole overall effect in every multiple direction he can. And what he's proven is, because politicians in Washington, they made everything seem like nothing can get done. Nothing can get done at all. And he's proven, yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's here to do it. He's not here to dilly-dally. You know what I mean? We want results. And he's telling everybody right to their face what he thinks. I mean, the first day he was there, he's got people in it, he's signing everything. And the White House press is in the Oval Office, holding interviews, answering questions left, right, and center on multiple subjects, which the last guy couldn't do, wouldn't do without a teleprompter. So the guy can discuss everything and any subject matter in a way, and it's,
He's here to do it.
He's here to do it, and we are here to give you the truth. That New Yorker dropping some serious truth bombs. Here we have this from Senator Marsha Blackburn. 24 hours ago, the American people are behind President Trump's common sense efforts to protect girls in sports. Listen to this.
Are you surprised the Maine governor picked that issue to pick a fight with the president inside the White House?
Mike, this is one of those defining issues between the left and the right. we fully believe that President Trump is right on this. It is the policy of the federal government that we will support Title IX as there for women in women's sports. And we will not support men, biological men, in women's sports. And as President Trump said, that this is the federal position, and therefore the governor should be enforcing that. She should want to protect women in women's sports. It is unbelievable that she would choose to not do that.
And, of course, President Trump saying, oh, well, yeah, I look forward to seeing you in court, Governor of Maine. Here's that poll we were talking about. Americans overwhelmingly support President Trump's agenda. Look at these numbers. Deporting migrants who are here illegally and have committed crimes. 81% support President Trump. 76% undertaking full-scale effort to find and eliminate fraud and waste in the government. Closing the border with added security and policies that discourage illegal crossings. 76%. Dude, President Trump is on fire. And here we have Secretary Scott Bessent on reciprocal tariffs. Listen to this.
Whether the nature of reciprocal tariffs is that if we start matching, whether it's the EU, that any other country in the world with reciprocal tariffs, we're just doing what they're doing and then adding in these other factors. If they remediate those, which is path dependent on their reaction function, if they do that, then their tariffs could drop. If they want to be recalcitrant, if they want to continue these unfair trade practices, then the tariff wall will go up until they are willing to negotiate. The nature of reciprocal.
That's your new Treasury Secretary right there. We got some more clips in here. Time to go back to the basics. 24 hours ago, here is your new EPA chief, Lee Zeldin.
We should be agencies should not be coming up with their own interpretations of what law is. We should be following our obligations under the law. We should be respecting the rule of law. We should be advancing cooperative federalism. It's time to go back to the basics to ensure we are delivering clean air, land, and water, but we're also unleashing energy dominance in this country, and we're powering the great American comeback. That's the priority at the EPA under President Trump.
Time to unleash American energy dominance. And speaking of which, here's the Chevron president of exploration, Bruce Niemeyer, talking about the Gulf of America. See, I think he's getting it right.
Energy emergency company. Bruce Niemeyer is Chevron's president of exploration and production for the Americas.
How important is the Gulf to you?
We've been in the...
Of course, the reporter doesn't say Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf.
The Gulf of America for 85 years. We're continuing to invest today. We are increasing production 50% between last year and what we will see next year.
That's a huge number.
It is a big number. It reflects the potential and the opportunity that is there. It is there for our company and, by extension, there for the industry and for the nation.
That potential and opportunity, something President Trump plans to tap. He says he wants the U.S. to be energy dominant.
Energy dominant is where we are headed. Here we have more 12 hours ago. Investments in the United States under President Trump, $14.1 billion bid from Nippon Steel, $20 billion from Hussein Sajwani, $500 billion over four years from Apple, $500 billion over 4 years from Stargate, $600 billion from Saudi Arabia. The money is pouring in right now. Here we have more from the Treasury Secretary on interest rates.
Since President Trump took, I would just point out, interest rates are down 5 weeks in a row on the 10-year since President Trump took office. And mortgage rates are down. We're going to get that down. I would just point out,
mortgage rates, interest rates. Here's President Trump inviting America's governors.
But we have a room called the Lincoln Bedroom. I think it's maybe, to me, the most important room in the whole country, the most important bedroom, definitely. And it's incredible just the way he left it. And he was Abraham Lincoln, after all. and we have it upstairs. And right after we're finished with the meal, I'm going to take whatever group wants to go up. We can handle quite a few. We walk up the stairway, the big, beautiful, grand stairway, and at the top of that stairway is the Lincoln bedroom and the treaty room where we signed virtually every land acquisition. And we are looking at a few of them, by the way, just in case you're not. We're looking at a few. I won't name them tonight, but I think we know what we're talking about, maybe more than we even think. But we'll meet here right after the end of the meal, and we'll walk up together, and you'll see something that actually is really amazing and real history. But we have a room called the Lincoln bedroom.
In the making, President Trump inviting the governors up to see it. And here we have more from DOD rapid response from Secretary of Defense.
That's even some backlash to those who are worried about their removal. One Georgetown law professor says this: Trump also firing the Army, Navy, and Air Force JAGs. In some ways, that's even more chilling than firing the 4 stars. It's what you do when you're planning to break the law. You get rid of any lawyers who might try to slow you down. Your response to her?
I don't know who Rosa is and what her hyperbole is all about. Ultimately, we want lawyers who give sound constitutional advice and don't exist to attempt to be roadblocks to anything that happens in their spots. What we know about these TJAGs, they're called TJAGs inside the military. Traditionally, they've been elected by each other or chosen by each other, which is exactly how it works often with the chairman as well. Small group of insulated officers who perpetuate the status quo. Well, guess what? Status quo hasn't worked very well at the Pentagon. It's time for fresh blood. So we're going to...
It's time for fresh blood. Here we have more. This is from Rapid Response 47 Special Envoy Steve Witkoff on President Trump's plan to secure peace and stability in Gaza. This was on CBS News' Face the Nation.
And what has not worked, President Trump is one of the most sensible human beings you're ever going to meet. He is, he understands that it makes no sense to endorse old policy prescriptions that have not worked. And what has not worked in Gaza are all of these old policy prescriptions. So he's come up with a new notion. And the new notion is, let's create a better opportunity for people who have lived in Gaza to have a better life for themselves, better upside, better aspirations for what can happen for their children and so forth. The May 27th protocol talked about Gaza as if it was a 5-year reconstruction plan. We've been talking in the Trump administration about a 15-year horizon, perhaps even 20 years. And now all of a sudden the Wall Street Journal printed an article yesterday agreeing with that math. There is a level setting the facts suggests that nobody can really live there in a safe environment for probably at least 15 years. So effectively, people have been under this misassumption. When you're under a misassumption about facts, you're not going to make decisions correctly. We're making decisions based on a real set of facts. And so there's a lot of work that has to be done there. There's tons of demolition. There's artillery shells all over the place that could explode at any moment. This is a much longer project, and people don't belong living there right now. President Trump.
It's a war zone. Here we have President Trump again at the National Governors Association dinner. Man, he looks great there. Look at him.
Maybe together. So tonight, let us all recommit ourselves to strengthening America, making it something even more special than it has been. And we're going to be one united nation, and maybe together this is going to be the evening that we start uniting. We're going to unite. We're going to hold each other close, and we're going to fight for our country.
Except for the governor of Maine. Here we have, this is Mike Waltz, 47, talking about how President Trump is handling the war in Ukraine.
What you're seeing under President Trump's leadership in just under a month is bringing multiple wars to an end. He is a president of peace. And on the Ukraine-Russia side, you're seeing, number one, a reformulation of how the United States provides aid, a partnership with Ukraine economically and their critical minerals, and really reformulating that so that the American people can see a return on this massive investment they've made. That's one. Number two, we go to a ceasefire. Number three, we reformulate how the United States deals with Russia. We saw that first step with President Trump talking to both Putin and Zelensky, and then the further engagement in Riyadh. And then number four, engagement with our European allies, as you see the President of France and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom coming to Washington this week, and we welcome their ideas for security guarantees and European leadership to take care of Europe's security going forward. All of that is happening at the same time that we're getting our hostages out of the Middle East. Steve Witkoff leading that effort. And by the way, we must see the destruction of Hamas and Iran staying on its back foot, for which all options are on the table. 1 month, Maria, under President Trump's leadership, and I haven't even gotten to the border, the cartels, deportation, and everything else that's going on. What you're seeing...
Yeah, baby. We are just over a month into this administration, and it is on fire. Here we have this, Real America's Voice, Charlie Kirk weighing in on the email sent out by Elon Musk asking federal workers to list their accomplishments.
If there's only one takeaway from our time together today that I want you to internalize, it's that President Trump and Elon Musk and J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth are challenging the D.C. orthodoxy that government is untouchable. Government works for us. They are not a holy realm of existence that we are not allowed to criticize, that we are not allowed to question. Now, mind you, the left, they will criticize every conservative nonprofit. They'll investigate Turning Point USA. They'll find out how many ballot chasers we have on the ground. They'll write ad nauseum about anything in right-wing world, but they will never criticize or lift a finger asking a question about the government. This is not the government's money. It is our money. This is your money. We are a team together in this as you as taxpayers, and they have been fleecing us over the last couple of decades. And let me just read the email again. Is this intimidating to you? Does this require a safe space? Does this make you have to run away? And this goes to my operating thesis that I wrote in that book back there, The College Scam, which I said this is the college campusification. That's not a word, but I made it up, of the entire country. You are not allowed to ask a junior at Yale, what did you learn here? That's intimidation. You're not allowed to have an exit test when you leave Stanford. That could be threatening. Safe spaces, speech codes, rooms with puppies and milk and cookies. If you hear something threatening, these people are now staffing your government. As we have always said, what happens on college campuses does not stay on college campuses. It ends up in corporate boardrooms, the halls of Congress, and metastasizes into your government. This is the same mentality that I've been fighting for the last decade on college campuses, that we are finally starting to see a shift. And again, this is the email. Please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullet points of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Do not send any classified information, links, or attachments. For every single person out there that has had a private sector job, and there are millions of you listening and watching, you should be angered and incensed by this. That these people think that they are an untouchable, holy class. They think they have been given the divine right of kings. That we serve at the pleasure of this oligarchy, that if you have a federal job, we can't ask a question. We can't dare question your existence. We are just lucky that you'll mention us. If there's only...
Those days are over. Statement from President Trump 7 hours ago. Today, President Emmanuel Macron of France joined me in the Oval Office to speak to the G7 summit. The meeting was convened by Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, the current chair of the G7, to acknowledge the 3rd anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine war, which should have never started. If I was president, everyone expressed their goal of seeing the war end, and I emphasize the importance of the vital critical minerals and rare earths deal between the U.S. and Ukraine, which we hope to be signed very soon. This deal, which is an economic partnership, will ensure the American people recoup the tens of billions of dollars and military equipment sent to Ukraine, while also helping Ukraine's economy grow as this brutal and savage war comes to an end. At the same time, I'm in a serious discussion with President Putin of Russia concerning the end of the war and also major economic development transactions, which will take place between the U.S. and Russia. Talks are proceeding very well. Historic investment occurring with President Trump and Putin. And of course, the left is going to melt down over that. Oh my God, Russia, Russia, Russia. No, we need to have trade and communication with our nations across the world, not conflict and strife. That is how you make everyone better. Here we have, this is the Maine state representative, Laurel Libby, talking about President Trump on the issue with the executive order. Listen.
But hopefully Governor Mills is going to give. That's the answer in the end. President Trump is right on with issuing this executive order that the vast majority of Americans and Mainers agree with. They don't want to see boys in girls' sports. And so we have a lot at risk here in our state. $250 million in federal funding. Governor Mills has got to let go of this extreme policy.
When can the money be turned off? When does that start?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm sure that's one that, Governor Mills intends to take to the courts. But hopefully it doesn't get turned off at all. This policy needs to be reversed so that Maine girls have a fair and level playing field, and we have the $250 million that we need for Maine students. Well, hopefully.
Okay, we are not done yet. We've got some more to dig into. Don't go anywhere. Here is Drew Greenblatt, the CEO of Baltimore-based Marlin Steel, supporting President Trump's tariffs on steel and aluminum.
Again, we're in favor of the tariffs because we make everything in America. Our factories are in Baltimore, Indiana, and Michigan. We use American steel, American workers, and we're leaning in on American manufacturing. We're excited about American manufacturing in the future. We have an amazing safety record. We've gone 2,200 days without a safety incident in our Indiana plant, 1,100 days in our Maryland plant. We really take great care of our employees, and we're competing with countries like China, where they don't have the same kind of focus on their employees. And, we're competing with countries that despoil their environment and they're debasing their currency. It's challenging for the American factory worker to compete with that.
So then, Drew, it sounds like you're saying you support these tariffs from a competition standpoint so that the imports are more expensive. And I'm inferring that means that your products can continue to be sold at the same price without increasing the cost to other businesses or customers. Is that accurate? Are you committing to keeping your prices as they are now?
Right. We need a level playing field. That's all we're asking for. The American worker can compete with any worker in the world. We're very creative. We're very imaginative. We have wonderful ideas on how to improve companies' throughput. We make wire baskets here. We make wire racks here in Baltimore. We make sheet metal fabrications. And we export to 45 countries throughout the world.
So he's on board because the tariffs are going to help businesses all across America. American Steel is back. We've got some more. Let's keep digging deeper into what we have in our hopper tonight. Let's check in with this is the announcement by Apple. Apple plans to hire 20,000 American workers. Check this out.
Company and $1 trillion. That's the largest ever U.S. spending plan for the world's biggest company, and it comes with thousands of new jobs across multiple states. Now, as you mentioned, we knew this was coming as President Trump teased it on Friday, and then Apple CEO Tim Cook was at the White House on Thursday. Apple is spending 50% more this year in 2025 than it did during the first Trump term. So $500 billion over 4 years this time. 4 years, not 5 years like they usually do. 20,000 new jobs, a new AI server factory in Houston, Texas. And that's significant for Apple, who tends to farm out their AI server needs to third-party providers like AWS. Also, you got a new Detroit Academy, doubling their research and development fund. Now, Apple CEO Tim Cook says we're bullish on the future of American innovation, and we're proud to build on our long-standing U.S. investments.
That's great news. We got Senator Tom Tillis reacting. This is a great win for North Carolina. Apple's decision to expand its data center capacity in North Carolina will help create new jobs for North Carolinians. Thank you, Tim Cook and POTUS. Tim Cook, 11 hours ago. As a proud American company, we are thrilled to continue to make significant investments in the U.S. Today, we're announcing $500 billion commitment to support American jobs. Let's continue. We've got more. This is on the Macron front. This was from our exclusive access that we have now at the White House. Moments ago in the Oval Office, Trump dropped a geopolitical bombshell that will shake Washington to its core. Macron just admitted 1 million dead in Ukraine, and Trump is about to end the war. Biden's failures are fully exposed. Now, this is what we have just learned. We have Macron confirming Ukraine's war claimed 1 million lives since it began. Biden's handlers lied to America, telling us this war was worth it. Now Trump is putting peace on the table, and even Macron is falling in line. Trump announced he'll meet with Zelensky to sign a historic minerals deal that locks in American economic dominance. The best part, Europe will pay the bill. Biden wasted $350 billion on this war and got nothing in return. Macron admitting Trump's deterrence strategy is working. The U.S. strength of its re-engagement is that there is uncertainty for Putin. Translation, Putin fears Trump. He didn't fear Biden because Biden was weak, confused, and totally compromised. Trump is exposing the Ukraine spending scam. America wasted $350 billion while Europe only spent $100 billion. And now, thanks to Trump's deal, they're on the hook. Biden bled us dry. Trump is flipping the script and making America win again. He also revealed once the peace deal is signed, Russia will go back to business. Ukraine will rebuild. Europe will handle security. No more U.S. troops. No more endless cash giveaways. Biden got nothing. Trump is delivering everything. Fake news tried to push a lie about U.S. shutting down military bases in Greece to appease Turkey and Russia. Trump was asked directly. His response, it's a no. Another media hoax debunked in real time by a president who leads with strength. Trump destroyed Biden's legacy in one sentence. If I didn't become president, Ukraine would still be at war, and that's exactly right. Biden enabled this war, profited from it, and used it to launder billions. Trump is shutting it down. Macron confirming Europe will guarantee security after Trump's peace deal is signed. So let me ask again, why did Biden send U.S. troops, spend $350 billion and act like Ukraine was a lost cause? Trump is proving every Biden talking point was a lie. And Trump also issuing a warning. This could lead to World War III if it's not stopped, and he's right. Biden's weakness nearly dragged us into nuclear war. The deep state wanted this war to never end, but Trump is forcing them to back down. Europe now admitting it will deploy troops in Ukraine, but only to enforce Trump's peace deal. Funny how they suddenly step up when a real leader's in charge. The moment Trump takes control, America leads and Europe follows. Macron confirms that $300 billion in frozen Russian assets will be used in Trump's peace deal. Translation, Trump is forcing Russia to pay for the war. Meanwhile, Biden just burned your tax dollars and left Ukraine in ruins. And Trump made sure Ukraine gets compensated first from the seized Russian assets. Macron admits it. Ukraine should be compensated first because they lost citizens. Imagine that. Trump gets Ukraine paid, and Biden just got America ripped off. Trump exposed the massive deep state fraud. We found hundreds of billions of dollars in waste of fraud so far. Then he dropped the bombshell. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there. What does Trump know? That's the question. Also this, breaking, Putin will accept European troops as peacekeepers. You heard that right. Trump just got Putin to agree. No U.S. boots on the ground, no endless war. The war machine is spiraling and Trump is making history. Trump is flipping global trade on its head. When asked about EU tariffs, he laid it out. If they charge us 20%, we charge them 20%. That's called fair trade, something Biden never even tried to do. And Macron admits Trump's peace deal will be enforced with deterrence, something Biden never had. The uncertainty for Putin is deterrence capacity. Translation, Trump's strength keeps the world stable. Biden's weakness nearly burned it down. Trump also secured a rare earth minerals deal that ensures American energy dominance. Biden's Green New scam set us begging to China. Trump fixed it overnight. And the deep state's worst nightmare is unfolding live. Macron also admitted the war cost all of us a lot of money. Oh, really? Then why did Biden sign blank checks to Ukraine while Americans struggled? We know why. The war machine had its hands in the cookie jar. Trump is shutting it all down. And Trump confirmed what the media won't report. There was a great unity in that room today after the G7 call. Funny how unity follows leadership. Compare that to Biden stammering through cue cards like a puppet. And Trump shared a hilarious story about Macron speaking only French at the Eiffel Tower. Yes, I was just nodding. Yes, yes, yes. Classic Trump. Meanwhile, Biden couldn't even make it up the stairs, so who was really in charge? White House reporters were stunned by Trump's total control of the room. Compare that to Biden needing handlers to guide him off stage. The world sees the difference, and that's why Trump is making history and Biden is fading. Macron also admitted Europe was working with Britain on security guarantees during Biden's presidency with no U.S. leadership. Now with Trump back in charge, America is leading again. The world sees the difference, and Europe is finally stepping up. And the globalist worst nightmare just became a reality. Trump is delivering peace, securing our money, forcing the world to follow America's lead again. The swamp is melting down, the war machine is panicking, and this is only the beginning. Trump is making history, restoring order and putting America first. This is the biggest foreign policy shift in decades. Follow us now for exclusive White House updates. We are an official White House credentialed news outlet, and our sources for this report were Sonia Dridi and Shreya Stein. We got that directly from the White House pool. Here we have more. This is from President Trump in the Oval Office.
Could end it within weeks if we're smart. I think the war could end soon.
Well, how soon?
Within weeks.
Weeks?
Yeah, I think so. Right? Don't you think so? I'd like to have you. I think we could end it within weeks if we're smart. If we're not smart, it'll keep going, and we'll keep losing young, beautiful people that shouldn't be dying. And we don't want that. And remember what I said. This could escalate into a third world war. And we don't want that either. I think the war could end soon.
We do not want that at all. Here's President Trump on Italy.
Nation. I love Italy, and Italy is a very important nation. We have a wonderful woman as your leader, and she was on the conversation today, one that we had, the G7. And no, I think Italy is doing very well. I think Italy's got very strong leadership with Georgia. I love Italy.
They certainly do. Here is President Trump. Let's see. That was the. Let's see. This is telling a story about meeting Macron in his first administration.
Dinner. I just want to tell you a little story. So we were at the Eiffel Tower having dinner with your wonderful wife and with my wonderful wife, and we came out and he started speaking the French deal. And we didn't have an interpreter, and he was going on and on and on, and I was just nodding, yes, yes, yes. And he really sold me out, because I got back the next day and I read the papers. I said, that's not what we said. He's a smart customer, I will tell you that. That was
a smart customer, he said. Here he is on Zelensky, meeting with Zelensky. In fact, he may come this week. Listen.
Agreement. I will be meeting with President Zelensky. In fact, he may come in this week or next week to sign the agreement, and which would be nice. I'd love to meet him. Would meet at the Oval Office. So the agreement's being worked on now. They're very close to a final deal. It'll be a deal with rare earths and various other things, and he would like to come, as I understand it, here to sign it, and that would be great with me. I think they then have to get it approved by their council or whoever might approve it, but I'm sure that will happen.
Wow, Zelensky coming to America to sign an agreement with President Trump. This is epic, folks. Here he is, more pushing for peace in Ukraine.
Nobody's ever helped you. We're helping Ukraine like nobody's ever helped Ukraine before. And I can say this, if I didn't become president, Ukraine would right now still be at a level where there would be no even thinking about a peace. And it was, it's a sad thing that this happened. This would have never happened, this war, if I were president. Zero chance. And it has happened. So my function is to get you out of the war, get them out of the war, let them live. It's a bloody war. It's a horrible war. Thousands of people are being killed a week. And I would say Russia, maybe 700,000 people. I think Ukraine, probably a similar number. And that's not talking about the towns and the cities that have been blown up. That's talking about soldiers. This has been a horrible, bloody mess. And we're going to get it solved. We got to get it solved. And, you know, we're not talking about America's soldiers, soldiers from this country. We're talking about Russia and Ukraine. But on a humanitarian basis, we have to get this very, very bloody, savage problem solved. And I will say this also, it could lead to World War III if it's not solved. You know, there'll be a point at which it's not going to stop at those two countries. Already there's such involvement from other countries. And it could really lead to a very big war, World War III, and we're not going to let that happen either.
We are not going to let World War III happen. Remember, on the campaign trail, President Trump kept warning about that, and now it is all coming into focus. Here we have more on the mineral deal with Ukraine.
Very close.
Reached an agreement with the Ukrainians on the critical minerals deal.
It looks like we're getting very close. The deal's being worked on, and we're, I think, getting very close to getting an agreement where we get our money back over a period of time. But it also gives us something where I think it's very beneficial to their economy, to them as a country. But, you know, we're in for $350 billion. How we got there, I don't know. But that's a lot of money, a lot of money invested. And we had nothing to show for it. And it was the Biden administration's fault. The Europeans are in for about $100 billion, and they do it as in the form of a loan. And the Europeans have been great on this issue. They understood it wasn't fair, and we were able to work something out. But with the Ukrainians, I think I can say that we're very close. Scott's around here someplace, and I think we can say that we're very, hi Scott, I think we're very close. Do you have something to say about that, Scott?
We are very close.
Good.
1 yard line.
All right, good.
At the 1 yard line, baby, we are about to have a touchdown with this administration. Are you tired of winning yet? Here we have, there was another clip here I wanted to play. Let's see the conversation. Okay, maybe I don't have that clip. Sometimes these don't load correctly. Okay, let's just jump out to the, where is the press conference? Here we go. Okay, this is President Trump 4 hours ago. This is the joint press conference that they had President Trump talking about the deals. His whole life is deals.
Came here. I mean, that's what I do. I do deals. My whole life is deals. That's all I know is deals. And I know when somebody wants to make it and when somebody doesn't. I will say this, before I came here, there was no communication with Russia whatsoever, and Russia wasn't answering calls. They were not talking to anybody. They wouldn't talk to anybody, and people sort of accepted that as being that they want to go forward and just keep going without stop. But when I got here, one of the first calls I made was to President Putin, and we were treated with great respect, and they want to end this war. So that's a big thing, because I didn't know if I could say that, but it's a big thing. They want to do it, and the group in the front row that I introduced, they're all very active in it, and we're working on deals right now, transactions right now, and in particular, the big one is to get the war stopped, whether it's ceasefire or direct to an agreement. I'd like to go directly to an agreement, but ceasefire will always happen a little bit quicker. And every day you're saving thousands, or at least hundreds, but thousands in some cases, lives.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives being saved. President Trump on the case. Here we have President Trump reacting to the Harvard-Harris poll. This is the clip I want to play. Showing Americans overwhelmingly support his agenda.
We're accomplishing. The Harvard poll that came out had you up 9+ points, and all of your agenda that you ran on, you're accomplishing that. You got the support of the American people, including stopping the war in Ukraine. If you can comment on the latest Harvard poll, I'd appreciate that.
Well, I was honored by it. It was a big poll, and it's usually a poll that leans on the other side of things, the other side of the world, so to speak. But the Harvard poll is a respected poll, and it has us not only leading, but leading by a lot, and leading on every single issue that we've talked about. And as I said, we've become the party of common sense. And I think that's a very important element now, common sense, because what's happening in the world and even in this country, some of the things that took place, many of them are now canceled, and the rest are being canceled as we speak. But we've moved very rapidly and I think very effectively. So I was honored by that poll. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
The Harvard-Harris poll showing President Trump leading on all fronts. Here we have Emmanuel Macron talking about his commitment to work with Zelensky.
First of all, allow me to come over the past few hours, and as you mentioned this, Mr. President, we've been able to see a few things take shape. First of all, allow me to commend you on your decision to work with President Zelensky and to conclude this agreement that's so important for the U.S. and Ukraine on rare earths, critical minerals, but also having substantive conversations with President Zelensky during this key phase of achieving this deal, which is a major commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty, and I think that's very commendable. We also have a shared desire to build peace. Over the past few hours,
a shared desire to build peace. Here we have more. President Trump elected by the American people to restore common sense and indeed the world.
I've been elected by the American people to restore common sense to Washington and indeed to the world. And I believe strongly that it's in the best interest of the United States, the best interest in Europe, the best interest of Ukraine, and indeed the best interest of Russia to stop the killing now and bring the world to peace. My administration is making a decisive break with the foreign policy failures of the past administration and, frankly, the past. I ran against a very foolish foreign policy establishment, and their recklessness has led to the death of many, many people. Under our administration, we're forging a new path that promotes peace around the world.
Peace around the world. It's happening, folks. Here's President Trump's opening statement. France is America's oldest ally.
For freedom, prosperity, and peace from the very beginning, we're now working on some very interesting developments. One in particular, as you know, the war between Russia and Ukraine. In the American Revolution, French support helped us to seize our destiny as an independent nation. In the First and Second World Wars, our citizens shed blood together on the battlefields of Europe. And I'll never forget joining President Macron 6 years ago on the 75th anniversary of D-Day. That was some day. The purpose of our meeting today is to end another battle, a really horrible one, a war, something that we haven't seen since the Second World War, that is ravaging European soil, the deadliest and most destructive conflict that one can imagine. I've seen the pictures, I've seen the satellite photos and lots of other photos, and it's a horrible thing that's happening. Thousands of people are dying a week. This very day is the third anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine, which would never have happened if I was president. That was not going to happen. The horrors of this gruesome and bloody war can scarcely be overestimated. Hundreds of thousands of people, Russians and Ukrainians in particular, have needlessly died. An entire generation of Ukrainians and Russian men has been decimated. 1,000-year-old cities have been turned into rubble. Those beautiful spires that you used to see there, they were most beautiful in the world, they say, are lying in heaps of rubble, blasted to smithereens. It's time to end this bloodletting and restore peace, and I think we're going to do it. We've had some great conversations, including with Russia. Since my return to the White House, we've made more progress toward that goal in 1 month than occurred in the past 3 years. And I've spoken with both President Putin and President Zelensky. And again, a lot of good things toward peace are happening, moving.
A lot of good things towards peace. And that's what this world needs, peace right now. So the establishment wants you to believe Trump's agenda is divisive, but polling tells a different story. Americans across party lines are rallying behind his vision for a stronger, safer, more prosperous America, and even peace across the globe. Even Trump's critics admit he's delivering results at an unprecedented pace. From economic growth to foreign policy wins, the evidence is undeniable. Trump's common sense approach works. So why are mainstream media and Democrat leaders still fighting against policies that most Americans support? Is their hatred for Trump more important than their duty to represent the people? Share your thoughts on that in the comments below. And don't miss our exclusive MAG Avengers gear. It's linked. It's shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Grab a hat, grab a shirt, and show the world you stand with real news.